I experienced discussions around standards such as Purdue and IS-95 somewhat incoherent, and I think it would be helpful if there was a clearer separation between information and information technology. In this video, I want to suggest how you can use the Purdue model to separate them, and hopefully have more meaningful discussions. So let's start off talking about information in manufacturing. What I like to do when talking about information in manufacturing is to look at the Purdue model. What you see here in the circles are functions within the area of production control. These are engineering, planning, operations control, and maintenance. These functions are codependent on each other. They generate information and they need to communicate that information. For example, if we look at planning, they need to communicate a plan to operations control, and operations control need to communicate their performance back to planning. Likewise, operations control can come with maintenance requests to maintenance, and maintenance need to report back status to operations control, as this can affect production planning. What I really like about the Purdue information model is that you can look at it at different levels. You can zoom out from production control and see how it relates to procurement and quality assurance. Likewise, you can zoom in on, for example, maintenance and look at how the spare parts function need to communicate inventory status to maintenance planning. The simplest type of information technology I can think of is, of course, pen and paper. The paper is often pre-filled with some kind of table for you to fill in. If we continue to look at the spare parts function and need to provide inventory status for the maintenance planning function, we could essentially support this need through filling out a paper like this. Of course, the complexity and quantity of information is really high at a manufacturing plant, and in all practical terms, this type of approach does not perform well enough, and we're going to need some kind of software and hardware to support the functional needs. These are not perfect analogies, but the way I like to think about it is that the pen and paper is equivalent to the information technology hardware on the right here, i.e. servers, switches, including protocols. While the template on the paper is the information model, saying that an inventory report should have an article number and an amount. Such information models would typically be supported by some software, such as MES, ERP, SCADA, CMMS, PLM, etc. In this case, an asset management system and a maintenance management system could be a good idea. The problem that I see is that such terms are often discussed without the context of manufacturing functions they are meant to support. And without proper discussions around functions, it often becomes difficult to discuss information interfaces between systems, i.e., what system should manage what information. Let me end this with suggesting two key takeaways. First, the Purdue model can be a reference for manufacturing functions and information flows, and can really help to give a needs-based approach to choosing software and hardware to technically support your plant. The other thing is that you are in some way or another supporting the functions described in the Purdue model today. Whether you're doing it with pen and paper, multiple IT systems, or just plain shouting, that is your MES, your SCADA, your CMMS, etc. Although this is not technically correct, I do think it's a good way of thinking if you're considering implementing any of these types of systems. You're not trying to do something new, you're trying to do something you're already doing in a more controlled and less wasteful way. You can simply look at the Purdue model and try to figure out how are we achieving these functions today, and how is the information flowing. can we improve on this? Okay, I think I end it here. I'll probably follow up with some more in-depth on Purdue. If you have comments or input, please leave them in the comment section. And until next time.